So what is the Common Core? It's a very simple thing. It's a written explanation of what knowledge kids should achieve at various milestones in their educational career. So it's writing down in 6th grade which math things should you know, in 9th grade which math things should you know, in 12th grade which math things should you know. And you might be surprised to learn how poor those, I'll call those standards, but to be clear, it's not curriculum, it's not a textbook, it's not a way of teaching, it's just writing down, should you know this part of algebra, should you know trigonometric functions, should you know, be able to recognize a graph of this type. And doing that very well is hard because there's certain dependencies, if you teach it in the wrong order, if you try and teach too much at once, too much too early, which the US was doing a lot of that, it can be very, very poor. And if you compare, we had 50 of these things, and there was quite a bit of divergence. Some states had trigonometry, some didn't. Some had pie charts, some didn't. And so ironically, what had happened was the textbook companies had gone in and told the committees that make these things up that they should add things over time. And so we had math textbooks over double the size of any of the Asian countries. And we had the ordering in almost every one of our 50, which is strange. You'd think if you had 50, one of them would randomly be really, really well ordered. Yeah. Some were more ambitious than others. So for example, being high, that is having the 12th grade expectation be high, there were a few like Massachusetts were quite good in that respect. And so when kids from Massachusetts take international tests or SAT, anything, they do better, better than the rest of the country. And so often when you see those country rankings, they'll take Massachusetts and show you where it would be if it was a separate country. And it's way past the US that now is virtually at the bottom of any of the well-off countries, with the Asian countries totally dominating the top 6 slots now. Finland had a brief period where they were up high, and now they're not even the European leader anymore. So a bunch of governors said, hey, you know, why are we buying these expensive textbooks? Why are they getting so thick? You know, are our standards high enough or quality enough? And I think it was the National Governors Association said we ought to get together on this. A bunch of teachers met with a bunch of experts. And so in reading and writing and math, these knowledge levels were written down. And at some point, 46 states had adopted that. Curriculum, a variety of competitive curriculum, now that small companies can get into it because it's not just doing a book for Florida. And so the sort of barrier to entry that was created by the large firms there goes away. The idea that those committees rev it so you can't use the old textbooks, that idea will go away. Because in math, this can have real durability. Changing your math standards, it's not like some new form of math is being invented. And there has been, in a sense, a national expectation. When you take the SAT test, it has trigonometry on it. So if you're in a state that doesn't have that, you're going to get a low score. And they use a certain notation in the way they do the math. And certain states were different than that, so you're screwed. If you move from state to state,
in the vernacular,
you experience discontinuity because of this. And it's made it very hard to compare things. And this is an era where we have things like Khan Academy that are trying to be a national resource, and yet you sit down, it'll tell you, are you up to the 6th grade level? Are you up to the 9th grade level? Are you ready to graduate from high school? And so this Common Core was put together. If somebody and states will decide this thing. Nobody is suggesting that the federal government will, even in this area, which is not curriculum, will dictate these things. States can opt in, they can opt out. As they do that, they should look at this status quo, which is poor. They should look and find something that's high achievement, that's got quality. And if they can find something that's that, if they have two they're comparing, they ought to probably pick something in common. because to some degree this is an area where if you do have commonality, it's like an electrical plug, you get more free market competition. Scale is good for free market competition. Individual state regulatory capture is not good for competition. And so this thing in terms of driving innovation, you'd think that sort of pro-capitalistic market-driven people would be in favor of it. But somehow it's gotten to be controversial. And states will decide. Whatever they want to decide is fine. But at the end of the day, it does affect the quality of your teaching, does affect when your kids go to take what are national level tests, whether they are going to do well or not do well.